to Wasatch Weekends. For this Monday, November 6th edition, I'm your host, Ben Roof. On today's show, we've got Emily Davis showing us a delicious spaghetti squash pasta recipe. But before we get to some tasty food, we got a quick local announcement. Ballots should be in the mail or on the way for the general elections here in Park City on November 22nd. And those municipal elections include 6 candidates for 3 seats for the City Council and a $30 million bond issue for our facilities. Make sure to get those ballots in before November 21st. If you have any more questions, make sure to head over to parkcity.org for additional information. Now, let's take a quick look at today's weather.
This weather report is brought to you by Sun and Ski Sports, your new mountain sports headquarters.
Welcome back to Wasatch Weekends. Emily Davis, who runs Whole Essential Nutrition, is going to show us an incredible spaghetti squash pasta recipe. So let's see her take it away.
And we are back with Emily Davis, continuing our butternut squash pasta sauce. We are on to the next steps. It's simmered, it's ready to go just about.
Yes. So just to kind of catch you up, so we added the ingredients, they were sauteing, I added the veggie broth, and then it kind of boiled. It took about 10 or 15 minutes, and then to kind of save the step two, all I did was add it to the blender, blended it for 30 seconds. And so all you're doing is you kind of want this, like a pureed kind of consistency. Again, like it's not, doesn't have to be technical. Like if you like it a little thicker, great, don't blend it as much. You like it a little creamier, then blend it a little longer. It doesn't matter.
And could you use an immersion blender
You
as
could.
well?
So the only thing I would say is if I was using an immersion blender, I would want this in a deeper pot. So yes, you could.
That's a good point.
Yes.
Otherwise it's going to get everywhere.
So, and then all I'm going to do once this has been blended and cooked, I'm just adding it with the pre-cooked noodles to the pan, back to the pan, and you're just kind of putting them together. You do want to taste this at some point, and we will. But I'm just going to add that back to the pan. We added a little bit of salt and pepper before. You can always add, it's hard to take away. So I always err on the side of like less is more in the beginning, and then taste and adjust.
And you can add it to the blender hot.
You could, Yeah, the only thing, if you're not super savvy at home with using a blender, when you have a hot liquid, you're doing like a soup, just know that there's going to be steam coming out the top, and so you're going to need to make room for that.
Yes, I've learned that the hard way as well. So I am one of those not super savvy in the kitchen at home ones.
Yeah, it's different than cold. So yeah,
Yes,
just make sure
is.
that you're able to release the steam is what's happening. So just kind of, like I said, adding it back to the pan. I've pre-cooked these noodles. They're the gluten-free spaghetti that I showed you earlier. And all I would say, I showed you these different varieties. Any of them would be fine. And then I quickly touched on like a non-pasta option would be zoodles, so zucchini that's been spiralized, butternut squash if you wanted to just kind of stick with a theme. Those have been spiralized.
Would you heat those up in the pan first if you're going to use those?
If I was doing these versus pasta, I would probably, do like a quick saute before I added the mixture back. Or you could add them now and just know that you're gonna need to like steam it for a minute longer.
Simmer it in the sauce for a bit. Okay.
Not very long, but yeah, for a minute. And then, so this is, I was just gonna kind of touch on, nutrition, carbohydrates. So I personally, right, like I don't eat not even a lot of pasta. I don't really eat pasta, even gluten-free. I would opt for something like this. It's gonna be a lower carb load, and without spending too much time on that, if you are pre-diabetic, diabetic, like this is gonna be a better option. There's already carbohydrates in here. This is gonna kind of put you over the edge, most people, because a serving, what you're looking for just really quickly on like a package like this is the serving size. So this is the complete box that I cooked, and it tells me that there are 6 servings here. Does that look like 6 servings to like what a normal serving would?
No, actually, because that would be my entire family, so no.
Yeah, maybe 2, 3?
3 maybe. Maybe. I would need 2 of those.
Yeah. So, I mean, this
Yikes.
really, I think, our American portion sizes is just usually too large. But this is meant to be 6 servings. So 1 serving has 45 grams of carbohydrates. If we're eating 2 of those, that's nearly 100 grams of carbohydrates just in the pasta. It's too much.
That really puts it into perspective when you show it like that.
Yeah, and then like I said, this is a vegetable, and so it's already got carbohydrates. Just in a less, it's lower on the glycemic index. If viewers at home are familiar with that, it just means it has a lower impact on your blood sugar. So really just vegetables, as many vegetables as possible. Even if you did try to stay to like the 1 serving, so like a much smaller portion of the pasta, if you added some other vegetables or a salad or something else, right? Like to fill you.
What about, this is going to be a lot of squash, but what if you use a spaghetti squash? Would that be a healthier option?
You could.
If you baked it like you did last time when you were here and shredded it.
Yeah, a spaghetti squash, these zoodles, anything honestly like that is going to be a great pasta substitute. Yeah. And so all I'm doing is adding the pasta or whatever it is you want to use to the sauce.
I can mix it while you add some
Thank you.
pasta. And this is pasta. I feel like this is enough sauce for maybe 6.
I think so too. Yeah, and this, I think the recipe is for 4, meant for 4, but I think this is plenty in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it's great for leftovers, right? Even if there's 2 or 3 of you at home, this would be great the next day for lunch or something.
Oh, for sure.
I'm always thinking about that.
Yeah, that's always a great extra bonus when you make a dish. You have some extras for the next day.
Just think about like
And
making an
healthy.
extra serving. Why
Yeah.
not? Yeah, no, you're good. So all you're gonna do is just kind of combine the 2, cook it a little bit if it seems like you need to. I pre-cooked these noodles, and if you needed more water, which it doesn't look like this needs, but if it looked like you needed some more, then you could always use, like reserve some of the pasta liquid.
So how would you serve this and garnish it, or do you need to?
I would just, so like we should taste, I'm just gonna taste the squash, because like I said, we need to. It's really good.
Nice. So I'm excited.
I think just a little bit more salt, not much, a little bit, but salt is always gonna enhance the flavors of all the other things you put in it, savory or sweet. And then just a smidge more black pepper. And then when you plate them, when you're ready, that's when like that sage comes in. And so I would put a little bit of sage on top. And again, like we kind of talked about, you could do Parmesan if you wanted this to be vegetarian. You could add some meat if you wanted this to be, a non-vegan dish. So there's lots of things you can do, but like you don't need to do much else either.
What's nice, you're right, it's so simple, but it's so full of flavor. I can't wait to dig in and eat it. It looks delicious. And the sage is an extra bonus that I wouldn't have thought to put on there. So it's very complimentary flavors.
Honestly, this, you could definitely add some more pasta. Like it, again, like it doesn't really matter. It's what I love about cooking for a lot of things, but like there's a lot of sauce here. You could add some more, or it's fine as is. So.
That's absolutely delicious. Where can we find out more about you and everything you do as a nutritionist and all the things and get this recipe?
So Instagram is a great way to find me, Whole Essentials Nutrition, or my website. Yeah, either of those areas, and I'll put this recipe up.
Fabulous. Well, thank you so much, Emily.
Yeah.
We always love having you here in studio. Now we can't wait to dig in, and it's really nice how you break it down, make it simple, easy, and healthy for us.
Thank you.
Always appreciate it.
Yeah, love to be here.
All right, we will be back after we dig into this beautiful butternut squash pasta dish, so don't go anywhere. Back right after this.
Welcome back. Emily is well on her way with that delicious spaghetti squash recipe, so let's, without further ado, let her continue.
Welcome back. We are here with the one and only Emily Davis from Whole Essentials Nutrition. She's going to cook for us, always a favorite right here on Park City Television. Emily, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Well, I'm looking forward to digging in. It smells delicious already, and we haven't even started.
You can smell the garlic. So yeah, today I have a butternut squash pasta sauce recipe, and I am highlighting some gluten-free pastas, and I wanted to just kind of talk a little bit about going gluten-free. If someone is wondering how to do it, wondering why, wondering what to eat. So all of those
this
things.
is tailor-made for me because I am having to eat gluten-free, which is a relatively new development. It's not very much fun, I have to admit. So I'm very excited that you're focusing on this.
Cool. I feel like I do get a lot of patients, clients that that need to for a variety of reasons. And most of them are, yeah, it's a little intimidating, I think, at first to know like what to cut out and what to substitute. So yeah.
It is intimidating and kind of takes some of the fun out of eating. So I'm glad you're bringing it back for me.
It's good. So yeah, let me kind of introduce the ingredients. So like I said, it's a butternut squash pasta recipe. Last time I was here, I did like a winter squash tutorial, if you caught that. And so today I'm highlighting the butternut. And I've got, most of the grocery stores will have these options. So like cut for you in the produce section, already peeled and chopped and everything. I found this in the freezer section. So yeah, most grocery stores will have these options, but I showed you how to do this with just a regular butternut last time I was here.
So many different options if you want to roast one yourself.
If you want to roast, yep, you can do that too. Yep, and other squash would work great in this too. So
really?
I'm doing butternut, but you could do acorn, you could do kabocha. This just happened to be honestly like a really convenient thing that was already chopped and ready for me. So
and this feels very seasonal, definitely perfect for fall, heading into Thanksgiving month, but I have noticed that butternut squash is available year-round, it seems, especially like that.
Yeah, it is. And again, like in your freezer section, yeah, you're going to find this any time of year. So it's good to know what to do with it. So butternut squash is what I'm doing today. I love sage that goes with it, so we're actually gonna like saute some of this up to start, and then I've just got broth, onion, garlic, and salt and pepper, a little olive oil, and then I'm using this particular gluten-free pasta that I found at my local grocery store, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. But yeah, that's the one I'm using that I've already pre-cooked.
Well, I've never sauteed sage, so I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, so let's jump in, move some of these things. I do also have a non-pasta version too, so spiralized, and I'll kind of highlight those as well.
I love that you always present us with options, always healthy, but you can do it more complex if you want to roast spiralized yourself, or you can find these options pretty easily at your local grocery store.
Yeah, I think that's good that that's coming across, because I'm trying to show you like this is easy. This is not hard. Comes together really quickly. And if you've never used sage before, or even like fresh herbs, the way that I was taught, because I think it's kind of, people are like, how do I cut this? So the way that I was taught, they're small, right? And they're kind of hard to handle. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing a little bit.
Oh, I love that. I usually just rip them up or
Yeah,
cut
so you're
'em
just like
with kitchen
rolling
scissors.
it,
Oh, nice.
and then it's easier to cut.
So you can cut a bunch
got
of them
all
like
my
that, a little
things.
quicker.
Yeah, so it does. It goes a little quicker.
So what size should they be for the best optimal flavor?
This particular recipe, and then like I'm just gonna kind of unfold them, you see, and then
So they don't have to be tiny diced.
no, for this it's gonna be a garnish, so it doesn't. To be honest, it doesn't really matter. They're gonna cook down a little bit too, so they're gonna shrink in size. So I think that's fine. But if you wanted them smaller, you could.
No, that makes it easier.
The short answer is it doesn't really matter.
Even better.
Yeah, it's my kind of cooking. So we're just going to heat some olive oil, like a tablespoon,
that fresh
and
sage
you
smells
know that I can eyeball that. I don't usually measure, but measure if that's important
I
to
have
you.
to measure, right?
Yep,
I
yep.
just can't eyeball them.
Some people need to, but yeah, just
Yeah.
a little.
I do.
And so we're warming this up. We'll put the sage in. So while that's kind of warming, I will talk just a little bit about those other gluten-free pasta options. So you can kind of see here, I wanted to show a variety. These were all at one of the local grocery stores that's near me. Not every grocery store is going to have all these options, but you should be able to find
They seem to always have
something.
at least one,
Yeah,
which is very
something.
encouraging.
So what I want to say, and the point I want to make is that I like these because they're usually just one ingredient and it's a whole food ingredient. So like this one is red lentils. This one is red lentils, pumpkin, and butternut.
Oh, yum.
And I don't just believe what's on the front of a package, so I look at the ingredients to make sure that that's really all it is, and it is. So 3 ingredients for this one ingredient for this one, and then this is a chickpea flour. There is a little bit of lentil flour, so 2 ingredients for this one, and then the one that I ended up using, which is more like a traditional spaghetti, is brown rice. Brown rice and water, 2 ingredients. Fewer ingredients, whole food, that's the point of gluten-free for me. Minimizing how much wheat you eat in your diet is a good thing. Again, especially if you're substituting with a vegetable or something else. So you can kind of see, hopefully, like I just sauteed those quickly. I was looking for them to kind of get a little crispy, and then I'm just going to set them aside. Those are going to be our garnish. And then a little bit more.
So not at very high heat, you just stirred them and just kind of let them
Yeah, if it's
simmer for a minute.
too high, it's going to burn. So yes, medium high somewhere. Every stove's a little bit different. I'm going to ask you to pass me that. We'll add just a little bit more, and we're just going to saute the onions, garlic, and squash and get those cooking.
And this recipe sounds very complicated and a little difficult, but once again, it's not. You're making it simple, easy, something we could whip up any night.
5 or 6 ingredients, I think, is all we're doing. So yeah, doable. I think it's doable.
Very doable, yes. I
So
love
like
it.
the equivalent of 1 onion or so, a couple of garlic cloves, which is about a tablespoon. Garlic's good for you. I like it, so.
And you can also, use a garlic clove or get the minced garlic.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of options as well to help cut corners.
Absolutely.
I have the squeezed tube of garlic, which sounds not very appetizing, but it's actually a little fresher than maybe minced dried garlic.
Yeah, fresh is always going to be best, especially nutritionally. So, but like, just because, I don't think that's interesting for you to watch me cut some garlic. I did just pick those up again in the produce section, like already minced. It is fresh. That's better than the powder, like you say.
But they're there's those options there. So if you want to make it, you just necessarily don't have all the time to do everything.
Yep.
You can make it a little bit more simple.
Yep.
Maybe not as healthy, but maybe next time.
Absolutely.
Mix it up.
Mix it up, make it work, whatever you've got on hand. So the recipe is about 3 cups. That's about
Just cubed.
2. Yeah, just cubed. I'm mixing, so the cook time's gonna be a little different, but if you're doing the frozen, it's gonna cook a little bit quicker. Just know that. The raw is gonna take a little bit longer.
Why is that? That might be a silly question.
No,
but-
yeah, good question, really. Like, just because the frozen retains the water, and so it's like already gonna be kind of,
But it's not cooked.
it's not
But
cooked.
it has that water. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. So
And they're
all I'm
also a
gonna
little
do, yeah, so they're a little bit smaller. Also, that helps it cook faster. We're just gonna let that cook maybe 8 minutes or so until the onion is translucent.
And you don't need to add just a little bit of oil. You don't need to add any more moisture.
No, the squash is gonna kind of bring its own moisture to it. So yeah, and then I'm just gonna season with a little salt and pepper.
I would have a tendency to want to steam it and add some water, but you don't need to.
Well, we're gonna add, no, good question, we're gonna add broth.
Okay.
And if you didn't have broth, again, like a substitution, then just add water. The broth is just gonna give it a little bit more of flavor. But yes, good question.
And a veggie broth. So this is a vegan dish as well.
This is vegan, yep. Yep, you could definitely make it, you know, with meat, like you could do, I don't know, like just flavor-wise and kind of ingredients, like a sausage might be good with this, and you would cook that separate. I don't know, chicken goes
Different
with
options,
everything. You
yeah.
could do chicken, but I don't know, sausage
There's
is
some
sort of.
people like cheese with their, you know, if you wanted
Yep.
it to be vegetarian.
Yep, exactly. I would
some
add like a little
protein.
Parmesan or something
Yeah.
at the end. Yep.
So you can add, maybe every time you make it, do something a little different.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, and I think people get, like, it's good to talk about this because this is how I always think of a recipe. Like, you can make this work for you with like what you have on hand. Like, I'm just showing you kind of like a base or a foundation, but yeah, like you can mix it up. Don't feel like you have to follow a recipe exactly.
Yeah, speaking from experience, I tend to want to just follow a recipe and have what I plan instead of experiment more. But I like that you can, and I need to be more open to that
Yeah,
because I can make
yeah.
it a little more fun.
Yeah, and you know, just like anything else, the more you do it, the more comfortable you feel. So cooking is just one of those things. So we're gonna let that simmer a little bit more. Once the onion starts to get translucent, then we're gonna add the broth, and then yeah, we are essentially like boiling it. When we come back, that'll be cooked. Then you're gonna put it in the blender to process everything, and then we're gonna come back and put it all together.
Oh, perfect. I
So-
can't wait. All right, so we're going to take a quick break and come back and enjoy more of this beautiful butternut squash dish. So don't go anywhere. We're right back.
This weather report is brought to you by Sun and Ski Sports, your new mountain sports headquarters.
so much for tuning in to this Monday edition of Wasatch Weekends. And remember, if you've missed any of our previous episodes, you can always catch our archive on parkcity.tv. And remember to keep an eye out for those ballots. And if you have any questions about the upcoming election, make sure to check out parkcity.org. Until next Friday, this is Wasatch Weekends, and I'm Ben Roof. I hope you have a great week.